Good evening. Welcome to the July 9th, 2026 pre-council agenda meeting. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Got a good looking group. Before we begin, I'd just like to thank all of those who worked hard, contributed to the awesome July 4th event held out at the White County Fairground. We had a fantastic turnout, tons of volunteer hours poured into that event. It involved almost all of our city departments. But it was a wonderful event, incident free. So thank you to our police and fire and EMS for their contributions. Of course, White County Fair Board was a tremendous partner in pulling off this event. So it was a great location for the 250th. Just as a reminder, if you would like to address the city council pertaining to a particular agenda item, please sign in under the appropriate item there at the podium. Print your name and address and who you represent. And I have asked Brett Kirkman to lead us in our invocation and David Morris to lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
Father, we come to you in prayer, thanking you for this city and all the blessings we all receive from living in it. Appreciate all the people here that pour into the city to make it what it is. Pray that you be with us tonight, Father. Help us with wisdom and clarity and patience as we look at the different issues we're looking at. We don't always agree 100%, but we do agree on Cersei and making it better. Father, thank you for your son. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. As I say the Pledge of Allegiance, as we just come through the 250th birthday of our nation, and let us just be mindful of all the many sacrifices that have been made by so many people. A lot have given the ultimate sacrifice that we've enjoyed this freedom that we have. Now join with me as we recite these 31 powerful words.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda are the quarterly reports from Forward Cersei, the Humane Society, Main Street Cersei, and the Chamber of Commerce. All of these reports are in your packets. Next up, we have Cersei Water Utilities presentation of recent rate study results with proposed final water rates adopted by the board. We've got Mr. Boggs here. Scotty, I think I saw you. Come on up, Scotty. If you don't mind, just give us an update on the study.
Certainly. New state law, Act 605, required all water utilities in the state of Arkansas to perform a comprehensive certified rate study to ensure that the utility was in financial good state to maintain the infrastructure and also plan for the future and any growth that the community might have. So it's actually a very, very good law, and we're required to do that. There's also a sister law to that. Act 605 is Act 925. It's the same type of scenario on the sewer side. And because it's a 5-year requirement for compliance, we decided to go ahead and do the Act 925 compliance along with this at the same time, kind of double up on our money that we were expending. We contracted with Garver Engineers, and they performed subcontracted a gentleman out of Florida to do the study. It ended up, the final rates were a 4.5% increase on water rates. That's on top of the normal CPI increase that is an automatic annual rate adjustment that is a city ordinance. So this year it was 7.4% actually on the water rates. The sewer rates weren't in quite as bad a situation. They adopted a rate structure of 0.5% above the CPI, which this year was 2.9%. So it ended up in the long run, the customer charge went up like 80 cents on water. The sewer customer charge went up 39 cents. The water rates went up 18 cents per 1,000 gallons. The sewer rates went up 13 cents per 1,000 gallons. In all, on an average person that uses about 5,000 gallons of water and sewer each month their bill is gonna go up a little bit less than $3 a month. So, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a big difference for us and really enables us to plan for the future. We were complimented very much by this, the person doing the certification study, said that we were very progressive in adopting a CPI adjustment each year, and he said that really helped us. We were in a very good position compared to most of the other utilities that he had had experience with. So he wanted to extend compliments to the city council for taking care of that ordinance before. But anyway, that's just in a nutshell what the rate study, what it fostered. One of the main things they were looking at in this study is in the year 2028, we have some bonds that are going to be paid off. And that's going to put us in a very good position to take on more debt and to be able to pay for some more bonds to do some future upgrades that need doing in the utility. We have a 20-year master plan that was supplied by Garver Engineers, and we're supposed to stay in line with this. This 20-year plan has maintenance on our infrastructure as well as suggested improvements, and that's what we're tracking along with. So after 2028, we'll be in a position where we can enact some of these upgrades to our utility. As you know, it's very vast and a lot of compliance requirements. We have some 325 miles of water and sewer lines in the ground, 2 plants, and a whole bunch of other facilities as well. So it's a privilege to serve you guys, and a pretty exhaustive scenario we have to deal with. Is there any questions that anyone had in particular? I gave hard copies to the mayor and electronic copies to distribute to the other council members, but if there's any specific questions, I'd be happy to entertain those for you.
Thanks, Scotty. Any questions from the council?
Okay.
You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Also like to recognize Butch Gardner. He's also on the Water Utility Board. Thank you for being, you're double dipping tonight because you're also on the Community Center Naming Committee, so thanks for being here. Which leads, well, first of all, are we good to move that forward?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Leads us to our next agenda item. We have Michelle Pugh and several of the committee members who gave a lot of their time. We probably met, 4 or 5 different meetings. So first of all, thank you all to the committee. And I know not everyone's here this evening for investing your time into this process. And Michelle, you're gonna give us the outcome.
Yes, so I'm gonna get us started, and then we got a couple of the committee members that are gonna join us and talk through it with us. If I can do this, let's see here. So I just wanted to start by giving a little bit of background of how we got here. It has been a little bit of a long process, but if you guys remember back in the fall, we started talking about names for the community center, and it was suggested that we do a community engagement piece for this. And so we ran that for several months, and actually I was totally shocked by how many name submissions that we got. So there were nearly 250 different name submissions. So some of those were the same name multiple times, but 250 people that actually went out and submitted a name. I thought that was impressive. A lot of times when you ask for someone to take the time to think through a name and to provide strategy behind where that name came from, I didn't expect to see that many. And so I thought that was really good, and I thought it was it showed that the community was really engaged with it. And so 250 submissions, and then from there we took those submissions and the committee reviewed them. So we provided them with the full list of names that were given and that strategy for each of the names. And then we started to try to find common themes. So, you know, where did people have similar strategies that they came to that name? How do we group them and kind of narrow down some of the names to get to one final name? So from there, when we met, we not only looked at the names that were submitted, but we talked about naming strategies. So we had several communication professionals in the room, and so there was a lot of talk about what is the strategy behind the name. We don't just, you know, want any name for it, so what should we look at? Some of those strategies that we looked at were, how do the names connect to Searcy, obviously? How do they connect to the Little Red River Park, formerly Riverside? How do they connect to Little Red Greenway and the trails? How do they represent the different programming? So all the different things that are going to be out there. How do we distinguish multiple facilities while creating one destination? And how do we create names that will stand the test of time? So from there, really what we talked about is you know, the charge from the council was to come up with a name for the community center. What are we gonna call that specific building? But really what was determined is all of that area out there that we refer to as the Main Street projects, that's really one destination with many different experiences. And so what do we refer to that area as? What do we refer to the individual facilities as? And so I think the committee may have gotten deeper into this project than they realized they were going to, because we asked them to come up with one name. We ended up coming up with several different names. And so we'll talk through that. Betsy is going to take us through the next slide.
Just wanted to say thank you to the mayor and the council and Michelle for including those of us on this committee. It's been a fun experience, so thank you very much. The name, we look out and we've got the Main Street project, and all of those things are different aspects of community. So they need their own, but then they're one area. And for those of you who are historians, you may remember or have read that in the 1860s, at the edge of the Little Red River, the steamboats would come in to the landing, and that's where shipping took place. So we wanted to kind of tie the old to the new. It connects to the trails, represents various things. We're going to have the landing, but I'm gonna turn it over to Jack, and he's gonna tell you how the community center will be under the umbrella of the landing.
Yeah, so just to explain on that just a little bit, sorry, just really quick. So make sure we're all on the same page. So the idea is that all of the Main Street projects, as we refer to them now, being the community center, what we don't want to be referred to as the new baseball fields and the old baseball field, that whole area, that whole complex would be called the Cersei Landing. So that was where that idea came from. And then Jack, who I always call Dr. Shock, and he doesn't like that, is going to talk about the community center specifically.
Sure. Hey, it's a pleasure to be with you. You know, all of you, I think. I'm here to talk about my journey with the name The Ramp. And I want to tell you right off that I was opposed to it at first because I just thought it sounded too clever or too Instagram or it just wasn't a fit for me. And then I started meeting with Michelle and the rest of the committee, and I learned that the ramp actually is something, and it's Recreation Arts Music Park. And then I was sold 100% when I drove by, because you can see from the road that strong architectural feature of the ramp. And so when I went in and we read all 250 of those name suggestions, this wasn't even in my top 3. But as I started thinking about it and looking at it and letting it seep in, and I turned into a big supporter of calling the community center part the Ramp, Recreation Arts Music Park. It's a great acronym. It means something. It's not a fake acronym. And it's got such strong architectural ties to what you can see from the street, and anybody can see it when they drive down the road. And so it's going to be the suggestion of the committee that to offer you that we name this area, the community center, the Ramp.
I'm gonna do one more thing.
Yeah, no, please.
I just wanted to call out in this picture, you'll see in the rendering, we have Cersei Community Center underneath it. It's not necessarily going in that exact spot, but the thought is that we could have the ramp in certain places and then also have Cersei Community Center as kind of a explanation of what it is. And so this shows here a potential location for it. As far as signage goes, our design team is working through some recommendations of where all we need signage. And so we'll go into a design phase for that. This is just a type treatment on the building. And so you can see here where maybe the ramp might be kind of large on the building, but then when you're actually entering the building, you would see Cersei Community Center. So they would kind of work together is the idea.
And so as Michelle stated earlier, we didn't really realize we were going to get into naming the baseball fields, but it came along, and we knew that we didn't want the old fields and the new fields. And I think we even talked about American Legion and National Legion, and it just wasn't working. And so we said, well, what are the exact streets that these ballparks are going to be on? Well, Pioneer Road and Veterans Park Road. And so I think we're tying in, again, the old to the new. And that's what it would be, the Pioneer Park at Cersei Landing, Veterans Park at Cersei Landing, the ramp at Cersei Landing.
So we think that this strategy works because one, it creates one destination brand. So like when people are coming to town, they know that all of these things are happening at Cersei Landing. So it's easy for residents and for visitors. It allows for future expansion. So as new things go out there, y'all know it's a large area. So there's a lot that could happen out there as well. It connects to Cersei's identity, it honors surrounding landmarks, and it creates distinct facility identities. I think so this is just a super rough, I won't even say mock-up, just to explain how this would work. So Cersei Landing would be the whole area, as we refer to it as the Main Street projects right now. And then we would have the ramp, Pioneer Park, Veterans Park, Swim Center, and then the soccer complex as well. So that way when you come into town, you know you're going to that area, and then there would be directional signage to point you to where you're gonna go. So questions?
Which one is Pioneer Park? The new baseball fields? And then which one is
As
Veterans?
new. I'm just kidding.
After now, I won't say that.
Okay. Yes, so Pioneer would be on the west side. Thank you.
Off of
Thank you.
Pioneer Road.
Yes. And then the other one would be Veterans, which is where the Veterans Memorial.
Yeah, so Veterans Boulevard, so it'd be right off of Veterans Boulevard, that's the connection, and then the Veterans Memorial is planned to be at the corner of Recreation Way and Veterans Boulevard. Feedback, questions? Great job, Michelle and Jack and
Yeah, the rest of the committee. Butch and Philip were also on the committee, and Chrissy Thurman, who's not here, were also on the committee.
Appreciate it. Time and work, I know that's a lot of time. Talented people on the committee.
We had a great group. Okay, any questions?
So we move forward. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
yes, we'll.
Is that what we do?
Yeah.
Did I phrase
We
it?
move it forward to Tuesday and then have an official vote.
No pun
Accepting
intended.
the suite of names, right?
Yeah.
Is that the intent,
Yes.
the suite of
And
names?
just in case anybody is curious, both the landing and the ramp were submitted multiple times from the community. So those weren't original to the committee necessarily. Obviously, you know that about ramp, but Cersei Landing was submitted as well. So
I do like the way you did that signage for that as an example. We put the Cersei Community Center. I thought that was good. Good too.
yeah, and we'll make sure online that that's part of our verbiage as well, because we want to make sure that if you don't know the name of it and you're searching for it from an SEO perspective, that it comes up. And so that'll all be weaved into the strategy.
Is there gonna be a ramp sign out there somewhere that says what RAMP stands for? So I don't have to write that down, Carrie.
Obviously, it won't be able to be used in every context when signs are smaller. We won't use that every time, but there will be somewhere. The idea is that there'd be somewhere that explains it.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for leading the process. All right, next up, item number 4, we have a lease agreement proposal for the use of the former Cersei Library Building. We have Keith Carpenter here on behalf of Forward Cersei.
Thank you, gentlemen, and appreciate you guys being able to letting us present to you tonight. We're here on behalf of Daryl, Amy and I are here on behalf of Forward Cersei and the Forward Cersei Advisory Council, made up of members from A&P, Beats and Eats, Main Street, the Chamber, Forward Cersei, SREDC, and the City of Cersei. Many of them are here this evening. the city's economic development master plan approved by the council called for collaborative workspace. Last month, this council approved a temporary use agreement for the Pyatt building, and I just wanted to let you guys know that over the past few weeks that Daryl and Amy have been moving in, there's already been a lot of meetings there, a lot of collaborative opportunity, a lot of teamwork, excitement, and it's been fun to watch. After conversation with most of you and advice from others, we're now presenting a long-term lease agreement for the old library for consideration. As a quick synopsis, with a minimum of $500,000 investment secured, Ford Cersei is asking for a 10-year lease with 2 extension options, and Ford Cersei will pay utilities. We look forward to the conversation, happy to answer any questions, and I hope that this can move forward to Tuesday night.
Hey, can I reiterate something that you just mentioned? So, Ford Cersei has secured $500,000 to make improvements.
Yes.
To renovate the interior of the former library building.
Yes.
Thank y'all. I mean, that's a significant investment.
Yeah.
To a city asset.
Thank you, Heath. Hey, one possibly tricky question. This is the first time I've seen it, but 1A on the second page talks about 113 and 200 South Spring Street. Is that, because the library, is that address of the library Spring Street, or is it Pleasure?
I'd have to double check with that.
I believe 200 Spring Street is the Pyatt building, I think.
That'd be an easy fix though.
So
1A.
it says 113 and 200 South Spring Street.
The original
sorry, yeah.
draft of the agreement had both buildings in it.
Yeah.
That's why that's in there. The document you got in front of you is intended to be a draft.
Okay.
Once the council kind of provides some direction on substantively which direction you want to go, I'll make sure that the document also references an exhibit, which would be the leased property. But until we know for sure what the leased property is going to be, that couldn't be included. So
Okay.
just for context, that's a draft document. Once you all have discussed and either approved or denied whatever substantive terms, then it'll be put in final form for execution.
So 113 is on the 200 block?
113 is, it's East Pleasure is the library. 113, is it East? Yeah.
It's East Pleasure.
Yeah, 113 East Pleasure is the old library.
Okay, all right, I got you. Yeah. The other one's Spring, okay.
Yes, sir.
I don't think we can lease it for 10 years. I think we can only lease it a year at a time, but that doesn't mean we can't do that every physical year and we, automatically renew it like we do some of our other leases. But it's my understanding of the law that the city cannot lease its property for more than a physical year. And I don't see that as a big problem, but.
Do you have a citation? I can provide you the state statute that says you got exclusive authority over the real estate matters.
That state statute says you can only do it physical year to physical year. The other concern I have is, since the city is really not getting any rent out of this, and I'm not asking for any, but I'm a little concerned with who's gonna pay what repairs and expenses and everything. So I'd like to kind of have a little more time to think about that. But I'm excited to have something going back into the whole library, and I'm excited to what's going in there, because it's gonna be for the purpose of promoting Cersei.
So can I clarify? You mean on the outside of the structure, or do you mean infrastructure issues, or?
Maintenance, there's lessor requirements, lessee requirements. We're not charging you but $1 a year. So I just need to look at that a little bit more.
Okay.
So I guess thoughts for the council to consider as we move toward a final agreement and make some adjustments. So the building is a city facility, a city asset. And so would the thought be the city would maintain the physical structure, right? And then kind of like, I guess with regard to another project that we're working on, the Legion Hut over there, make sure that the physical structure is suitable and well maintained, as well as like the HVAC units. I know Jeff, y'all work on, where's Jeff? There you are, sorry. Like the HVAC unit itself. And I think in the lease agreement would just be the actual operations, right? The cost tied to the operations, whether that be the utility, right, or the cleaning or that type of thing, the actual functions that are happening inside, would be covered by the tenant. Is that, am I regurgitating, I guess, the concept correctly?
Well, you've got 8D here, is leasee shall at leasee sole cost and expense be responsible for all other maintenance and obligations, minor repairs, due from ordinary use and occupancy of the premises. So, you know, minor, but in A, you've got, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, but you're saying like maybe minor plumbing or minor electrical due to, if you want a socket moved, or if you know, want to make a cosmetic change, that's at your expense, right? Not at the city's. Is my understanding. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Where are you looking at?
I'm looking at section 8, paragraph A through E talks with repairs and maintenance.
Which each of these entities that will be utilizing this facility are community partners, right? Working for the greater good of Searcy, which obviously we have, the city has a great working relationship with all these entities and potentially more in the future. So big picture is it's all a positive move, you know, for Searcy, economic development in all its many forms. And so we're all here to work together and to collaborate and to keep moving Searcy forward in a positive way.
Just want to do it right the first time if we can.
That's right, yeah. I do have a question on the Pyatt building. Y'all are currently, I mean, temporarily housing out of there. Is that particular facility, would that be an asset also in the big picture of just that area, future usage, that type of thing?
We're definitely interested in pursuing that conversation at the same time. I don't know if those should be two separate lease agreements, if we would bundle them together. We certainly have an investment already secured for the library. It seems as though if that building is empty, the city doesn't have plans for it, I could see the two going together.
I just wanted to, I guess, open that up for thoughts or discussion too. Obviously, it's right there together.
I don't disagree with that, but I think we need some other uses the city might use it.
And I really think they should be separate leases, in case your group decides that you don't need to use that, and it could be available for other things. It'd be a technicality, but I believe it'd be more versatile situation.
That's reasonable.
Good discussion. Richard.
I'm just gonna bring up too, like, I think we have a similar situation with the library, the new library, in that it's a city facility that the city owns and we also maintain. So whenever we've already had some maintenance issues with that building.
Right.
The team's been out there fixing it. So
Whether it's plumbing or HVAC.
Yeah, so I'm just pointing out that I think this is kind of a similar situation, I think, to what the library system's use of that building, and we still answer the phone when we when the plumbing is.
Yeah, it'd be better if they're all consistent.
Right.
Jeff's peace of mind or sanity, maybe.
I'm sorry, so are you saying that you are not in favor of ordinary maintenance and ordinary plumbing and repairs to be the responsibility of the leasee?
Well, I'm just saying, I think that the way that the current, or the new library is we handle, I mean, I think they call our maintenance department anytime there's a maintenance issue, big or small, I believe. Am I right? I mean,
that's correct. There are also revenues received from the state, from property taxes, for some offset of those maintenance and expenses that we do. They pay for it, but it offsets that. That sets this apart a little bit. So I think any help that we could get, Heath, from, you know, and look, it's just very simple, is Jeff and his crew are stem to stern all day, every day. And if we can get a little bit of assistance, and that's kind of one of the things I'm glad to see that, you know, you guys offering to pay the utilities. I think that's kind of big. I mean, you're using the utilities if you're there 1 hour a day or 23. So the charge is the charge based on your usage and your occupancy. So I don't have a problem with, we're already mowing the park, I don't have a problem with that, we're already paying the taxes, and there is no, I mean, we're already paying the insurance, there is no taxes. So I think it's fine, basically as written, but with a little bit more time to review, as Mr. Rainey said. I don't see a large problem myself.
What is Exhibit A supposed to be?
Should be
Ultimately, it'd be the visual representation of what's gonna be leased, because that's all Spring Park. If you don't intend to lease them the park, it would just be the building and the associated apartments.
And then you got B there, and that's what you're intending to do to the building.
Yes, sir. And I'd be happy to, at a later date also, as the designers get further into the process, to come and update the council just on their vision for the inside. If that's something that you guys would be interested in.
Yeah, Mr. Morris?
Mr. Moore,
Yes, sir.
would you mind giving me the code citation that Mr. Rainey handed you? I'd like to review it myself, if you would.
It's 14-138-111.
14-138 and 111?
Yes, sir, and I've got another one for you too, but I'll review this and I'll read both, and I'll make
Okay.
sure that before y'all vote on that.
Very good, thank you.
Incorporated there.
Appreciate it very much, thank you.
I haven't read through here in detail. It's a small thing that just popped in my head. It's a big deal, but I guess we're gonna have to carry some contents insurance, I guess, at least on this building, I don't know if that's built into the lease or not. You guys are gonna have equipment and things like that, you know, in there.
Just basic office supplies type things, desks and chairs and things like that. I don't know if that qualifies as equipment.
Well, like, you know, generally when you lease a property, you carry some kind of contents insurance or those kinds of things, liability related.
As far as the tenants in the building,
I'm assuming we're all
Yeah.
looking into all that, or Mr. Moore is.
I think that would probably fall to the tenants, referring to like renter's insurance.
Yeah,
Yes, sir,
or
Kirkland.
under a lessor or lessee situation, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, I'm just thinking of any liability type things that we don't think would ever happen, but make sure we're protected.
Well, I think our policy now is with municipal league, right, and it just covers the building and structure. I think that would still be in place. If they felt like they needed extra insurance for whatever was on the interior, I think that would fall to the leasing.
So the municipal league insurance, you think would cover the contents?
No, just the structure, yeah.
Okay, when it's leased.
It currently does.
Yes.
Currently covers it now.
I just didn't know if the lessor or lessee situation is different than like, it's a property that we're using. I don't think it's a big deal, I'm just.
Since the city's not getting any rent, if you sublease some of this, are you all gonna charge rent?
Not planning to, no.
I just think if the tenant or tenants want coverage on their equipment and furniture, y'all get that.
If I could speak to that, I think that we would be willing to insure our own stuff, and I might be speaking out of turn, but Main Street Cersei already, we have an insurance policy that covers all of that for events. We have liability, we have directors and officers, but we also have that protects all of our office equipment. It's a minimal fee. I think we pay $500 a year for coverage for all of our properties, so it's not a big expense at
I would
all.
encourage you all to get renter's insurance because it's also gonna have liability coverage too.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Or personal injury type liability coverage for you all that are using the facility. I think other than those minor things, you have any estimate time of when you're gonna start? When you get a lease?
A month ago. Yeah, would love to get a lease signed. I got a design team, contractors, everyone's really excited about this project and want to move forward with it.
My suggestion, subject to these few minor changes, is that we move it forward to Tuesday night.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you. And again,
Thank all of you.
thank you all for the funds raised to make improvements to this facility.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, item number 5, updates on the My Cersei projects. We may be calling those the Cersei Landing projects before too long.
How about that?
That's cool.
I will say we did have a meeting, just to piggyback on some of that, since you mentioned it. We did have a meeting with our design team. It was a really fun meeting. I had the kind of crazy idea to invite all of our design folks on all of our projects into a meeting in the same room. So competing architecture firms and engineers to talk about signage, to kind of share some ideas on the things that each team is working on. So as we start thinking about how they connect, be it trail signage, maybe it's wayfinding signage around town, other park signage, like how do they all kind of coordinate, right, and be in harmony? And it was a really fun meeting. It was really fun to see kind of everybody put their egos to the door and really talk about a lot of creative things. And so it was really cool. It was a fun meeting to be a part of. On the area that we call the landing, each team is still working on their obviously individual project, but like I know Reese had mentioned, you know, with the name, if it ends up being the ramp, you know, the building, as you've kind of seen some renderings with the big logo on the building, you know, maybe that's where you land ramp and you've got the recreation, arts, music park, but out on the street having a monument sign that also says the ramp, and maybe that's where we tag Searcy Community Center. So as you're wayfinding, trying to find the location, you know where it's the community center, you can see that easily to direct you to. So they're working on that right now. So we'll probably at some point in time have or hopefully fairly soon have some mock-ups on some of what that could potentially look like. So, all right, so our updates on everything. We'll start out with the dog park and the Yancey. Those aren't bond projects, but we're really close on those. So at the dog park, grass is rooted in, it's good. We're waiting on some benches and some signage to be put out. We do have a drainage problem out in, you may have noticed if you drive by it after rain, the parking lot's holding water. Bear's working with the contractor on figuring out what's causing that, and we do think that we have a solution to it, and we're gonna work towards that, but I think we'll probably be opening up the park as we're trying to fix that, because there's a lot of people, a lot of dogs in this town are itching to get in there and start running around apparently. But it does look great, so we're super close on it. It's really close. Yancey, if you've been by it, you've seen the courts that have been painted. They look really good. I've already started getting a few calls from people, not realizing that we were gonna paint the courts and then just like, wow, they look really cool. They look really good. I think out there they've got a few lights they still have to hook up and a little bit of cleanup stuff. So, I mean, I'm hoping that our next council meeting update, I'm saying that they're open and we're playing basketball and dogs are running in the park. So they're really, really close on those. Under the bond projects, the Little Greenway connections, there's really nothing new to report. We're still working through RDOT comments. Berry Hill Park, we have a few little outstanding punch list items that still need addressing, and then the pergola and the tables that we ordered, the extra things, some of that has arrived and the rest of it should arrive soon for installation, but all in all, the park's open. I think the community's really enjoying it. In some cases, they're enjoying it a little too much. We've already been having to repair a few things here and there, but all in all, I think it's been a really positive thing for the community. It's been good to see so many people enjoying it.
Richard, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna mention, when those items for the splash pad, like the pergola, are to be installed, we will have to close that down for a little period of time.
I think they said it would be maybe 7 days, about a week max of a shutdown period. So we'll make sure that everybody knows. But it should just be the splash pad. It shouldn't be, the park should still, the playground should be able to stay open.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What, you said punch list, what's left to do, Barry?
There's just a few little minor cleanup things. There's some like, some areas where they need to be kind of fixed sod wise. I haven't seen the last and latest punch list. I think Jeff's been working on one too, maybe. You know, anything major. It's just a lot of little minor things as Bear walked and Jeff, we all walked through to make sure that things get fixed before we close out their contract. It's all fairly minor stuff.
So we're talking about tweaks, not additions or not anything.
No. This is like the last thing that you do before you close out the project. Architect, owner, engineers, whoever goes out and walks the project, and they're like, there's paint splotches here that need to be cleaned, you know, those types of things that just, we haven't closed out the contract with Hart. There's just a
Primarily
few.
cosmetic.
Mostly like just little
dressing up.
cosmetic little fixes here and there, or maybe something didn't, get put together right and it's loose or something. They've gotta come back and retweak.
So closing out the contract means final payment to the contractor?
Right.
So we're gonna let him skip town before he does these things.
That's right. That's why we hold that little, there's always a little retainage that you hold. And once the punch list is complete, everybody's satisfied, then the retainage is released.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yep. South Main project, potentially the landing. All that is going really well. Good progress still being made. Everything's been moving. The community center itself, the mezzanine slab has been poured, and it's really cool to go up there. And if you haven't been up to come out, this is a great time to come out and go up to the second floor and see the mezzanine level and see the vantage point from up there. Now you can kind of get the vision of the balcony that overlooks the wooded area that goes to the ball fields. You can see the bike trail that comes through and how everything looks down into the courts with the walking track. And so it's really, really fun to start to see that stuff come together. Another big milestone is they've started to put the block walls up on the interior of the gym, so you can really start to see the gym space being formed out. Ductwork, utility things are starting to run, so you're starting to see really the guts of the building take shape. So there's a lot of movement that's happened here just in the past maybe like 3 weeks or so. Out there, we also met last week with Arkansas Game and Fish about stocking our pond. If there was potential for that pond to be stocked to use as fishing, they were super excited about it. They think the pond's a great spot for people to be especially for families, kids that might want to come out and learn to fish or something that's really cool. So yeah, we're going to move forward with that being one of the stocking ponds on their system, and we're going to try to work towards potentially having fish out there for the opening. So that's what we're going to work towards at least. The aquatics, all the pools have been dug out and framed. They're currently running all the plumbing, but all that's really starting to take shape. You can really see the outline with the framing of the pools. So that's really been exciting. The baseball complex is rolling. They're about to start the construction on the 3 additional fields out there. All of the drawings, those revised drawings, have been turned in, and CDI is currently should be turning in the pricing to us to make sure everything looks good and begin working on that. Soccer, so unfortunately, and we were pretty sure this was coming. We've had some issues again that you've all heard with the inspections on the gas easement, and then we continue to battle really bad soils out there. And so we knew that the timeline was getting close to that edge, but we were officially notified at our last OAC meeting that we're probably not going to hit the date to have the soccer complex open by the fall season, which is what we were really hoping to do. It looks like the construction itself is going to be finished. The grass probably will be laid. It just won't be ready to play on. The grass, obviously it's a sports field, and you can't have the players running around on fresh sod. So I think there'll be some time with it being in the fall, the time to root that in and get it mowed a few times, so there's no trip hazards and all that stuff. We don't think that there's gonna be time to do that. So Parks Department's already been working with our soccer association on trying to find backup plans. We're gonna help make that as smooth as possible as we can, working with the contractors. There might be opportunities in the area to play that we could have ready in time, but we're going to work towards some sort of solution with them to make sure for the fall season, to still have the fall season, of course. But out at the Little Red River Park, so we should be any day now getting our final approval from RDOT on the boat ramp project, the grant project. So on the agenda later tonight is us asking permission to solicit bids. So as soon as we get that approval letter from RDOT, we can go ahead and advertise to get bids and start that process of construction. So that's a little bit later in the agenda. We do have a progress meeting on what we're calling our phase one, phase one of the site. So entrance and pavilion and all the things that the design team's currently working on. We're gonna have a meeting and just on the 28th to look at that. So excited to see what they've been working on and coming up with. As far as the trails go, our first loop should be completed in mid-August. And when it is open, we're going to advertise it as open. We'll be able to access that trail from the boat ramp parking lot area. And so we won't have to bring the public in to the new entrance until it's finished and complete. So we're gonna advertise for it to be open to get people out on that trail and do some exploring, hiking and biking and stuff. So then the last thing, so Michelle Pugh, she had a videographer in town for the 4th of July event, and we piggybacked some of his time on that Friday to do some videos of other projects in the area. She went to Berry Hill and I think to the dog park, and but one of them was River Park. And so when she called me to say that she was going to do that, she asked if I could get a couple of bikers out to ride that we could shoot some video. And so I put the word out, and we had about 25 to 30 people show up on Friday morning. We had folks from Cabot, we had adults, kids, boys, girls, like it was a huge group showed up, and everybody was pumped and excited about it. I didn't think there was going to be as many that showed, and they were just excited. The folks in Cabot were just blown away. They were like, when's this going to be done? When can we ride? Our season is in the fall. Can we come up here and practice for our fall season? You know, and so I said yes. It's soon to be open, and they were really, really pumped about it, and they were just blown away by what we have built so far. But I keep telling them, like, just wait. The coolest stuff isn't built yet, so there's more to come. So.
When you say practice, is that for like their NICA program?
Yeah, so their NICA team came up. They represent not all of them, but a few of them came up, and yeah, so one of their coaches was like, "Can we come use this place as a practice spot for the upcoming NICA season for them?" And so once it's open, we definitely will get word to them that they can come up and use it as our practice runs. So it's cool. That's all I got on the updates. Any questions or anything? As usual, if y'all want to get out to a site, just holler at me. I'm happy to always take people out. That's my happy place, is going out to see the construction being done. So any of y'all want to come, I'm happy to give tours. So
great update. What's going on?
Oh, I'm up here for a while.
Yeah, you're up here for a while.
Sorry.
Any questions from the council on the project? Thank you, Richard. Good job, Richard.
Absolutely.
All right, item number 6, authorization to engage with Qualabong Surveying for services required to prepare an annexation petition for the Little Red River Park.
Yeah, I was here maybe 2 months ago or a month ago. I can't remember. My mind's mushy, but talking about the annexation of the park itself and the unique opportunity as we, as the city being petitioners, can annex and with potentially bringing in the water utilities folks as also a petitioner, we could look at some additional areas to potentially annex in as well. And so you all tasked us to take it to start out with the grounds and equipment, or not the grounds, but the
Planning and Growth.
Thank you, Planning and Growth Transportation Committee. To start studying that, and then on to the Planning Commission as a recommendation, and then eventually back up to you all. So what this is we've started looking at the area and the boundary, and so this is just to get Quattlebaum engaged to start doing some title research and some boundary work and those types of things that will be required to put together the petition that will eventually get to you all to present to hopefully approve the petition to move on to the next steps. It still will have to go for y'all's approval, and then to the county for their approval, and then so on and so forth.
So we have an estimate in the packets for Qualabong Surveying, total of $18,250. So seeking approval to
engage with
and then
so
also appropriate funds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just make sure we're clear.
As we're developing it as a park, and it's going to get a lot more visitors and things of that nature for a lot of reasons, for security reasons, for police, fire, I think we definitely need to annex it into the city. So I say move it forward.
All right, thank you. right, and then that brings us to item number 7, authorization to re-advertise an RFQ for a design-build trail construction manager to design and construct the ADPHT Cersei Trails project.
So.
This is a timing issue, isn't it?
Timing issue, yes, sir. This is something that you all had authorized the mayor to negotiate with Rock Solid Trail Contractors on this project. Working through their contract, they recently got back to me and basically told us that they could not begin construction until the end of 27. They were backed up until the end of 2027. We have a timeline on the grant. A year and a half from now is not really does not work with our timeline. They were the folks that helped put together the master plan that got us the grant. So unfortunately, with that timing, we're gonna have to go back and re-advertise. They were the only submission when we did the RFQ the last time, and I think that was really because it was pretty known that they helped us with the master plan, and they probably had an inside track on getting it, so we didn't get really the submissions that we potentially could. So what I'm asking for tonight is to resubmit a new RFQ. We're gonna really target the different trail builder groups and some specific companies to get it in front of them, to try to get somebody that can meet our timeline to get these things built with our grant funds. And then if you do approve it, assign one of y'all to be on our selection committee, which I think Mr. Rainey was on our last one, but we never met because it was just the one submission.
So at the end, if it's all right with you,
Yes, sir.
let's move it forward till Tuesday night.
All right, thank you. Item number 8, an update on the Fern Cowan Rogers Park project.
Well, again, unfortunately, like, as y'all can tell, that there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to do my best to help save the city some money, but timing, I know, is you know, basically cut to the chase. My timeline, or my capacity to do things in a timely manner is limited, and so I would just say that if timing is an issue, I would probably recommend that we hire maybe look at one of our pre-approved consulting lists to design. We have a concept, they just need to take it to construction phase and then bidding and construction and that sort of thing. That I've just struggled to have the time to actually put together those plans, the construction plans themselves. So it's either, so I'm waiting on me to be able to have the time to do it, or moving forward with the selection of one of these folks to move forward, and which would cost, obviously, some funds to do so. But that's basically, the one update is, I will say, the tree board met, and if you remember, we planted 4 trees along Main. Our next planting project is to plant 4 more trees, so we have a few more trees out there planted this year.
Okay, so just to recap, you're covered up. You've already have the conceptual plans done. You need to take it to construction phase. We want to expedite the timeline. We may need to outsource that.
Yes, sir.
Or wait until you have the capacity to do it in-house.
Yes, sir.
You need to take your conception to construction drawing phase, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So take the concept, put it on the survey, make sure the grading and all that works out, and actually put together construction documents for somebody to bid.
Okay, and that would just require an engineering firm to do that, or whom?
Yeah, engineering, landscape architect, somebody in that realm to do, yes.
And we have a pre-approved list of those, right? So you could select from that list.
Yes, sir.
Who's on the list?
Really meant to bring that list with me. We selected 5. We had, if you remember right, we had architects, we had engineers, we had planners, and we had surveyors. So it was a long list, but I think there was 5 from each that we narrowed down to. I know Davidson was one, Crafton Toll was, speaking on the engineer side, Davidson was one, Crafton Toll was one.
So Salt.
Salt maybe was one on the engineers.
You could have that list by Tuesday.
Yes, I can provide the list on Tuesday if we want to look at it. I can send it to y'all in the morning, if y'all wanna look at it, and if we wanna make one of those selections by Tuesday.
I appreciate it. My other question is, do you have any idea when you would have the time?
End of 27?
I was gonna say, let's see, the community center opens March of, or April of 27. Yeah, I mean, it's.
I'll just try to save you, Richard. Richard's maxed out. I mean, you can hear the volume of projects that we're working on. He is the #1 lead on all of these projects and managing all of that. It's a lot. It's a lot on him.
There's a lot of management on, I mean, the construction drawings themselves they do obviously take time, but then managing the bid process and working through that process is a lot of administrative time. That also is hard to.
Send us a list and we'll talk Tuesday night.
Yes, sir. I'll provide to you, just looking back at their SOQs, ones that have kind of some, I guess, park experience, I'll kind of highlight those in the whole list, but.
When you're sending stuff out, would you send us, Michelle, the names?
Sure.
Cersei Landing and then all the way down?
Yeah, happy to. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll have the list on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
And then highlight which ones kind of specialize in park design.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 9, an update on the Veterans Memorial. Now, this was shared. We have some renderings. I think they're in your packets printed. I don't know if we have them for the screen, but there should be some printed renderings provided in your packet, and then also an estimated cost. This is from Craft & Toll, right? And of course, past several years, we've had individuals in the community that have started raising funds even before we had a conceptual rendering or even a location identified. But based on the renderings that are presented, it's, in the neighborhood right now of around a $436,000 project. Of course, that would have to go to bid and all those things, but we just wanted to make sure that the council had these renderings. The location at the corner of Recreation Way and Veterans Boulevard is where it's drawn. And then really we're hoping to kick off, a pretty robust fundraising campaign and try to get partners, and we're looking into grants, and I've reached out to our federal delegation to see if there's any federal funds for a project like this, just to see how we can get it constructed.
I may have been asleep, but this is the first time I've heard about the Veterans Memorial.
It's been part of the My Cersei projects, really, I think from near the get-go, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was always identified with the renaming of Higginson to veterans having some sort of memorial in the South Main project area, Cersei Landing, potentially, area. And so when the proposal with Craft & Toll, when we entered into that agreement, part of that was, the design and construction for all the projects that we're constructing, but also to do conceptual drawings for this, as well as the Miracle League field that we did not have funding for in the bond projects, to provide us conceptual that we can take to begin fundraising efforts, or those groups could take those concepts for fundraising efforts. So
we don't have any funds obligated, pledged to for this project.
No, not currently, no, sir. Not for construction. No,
We haven't talked about this in a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
We've been working on it. They were, it was one of those trying to get the stuff under construction, and it was like, hey, Craft & Toll, remember we were gonna do some concepts for the Veterans Memorial. It had kind of changed. It shot around at a few different locations during all the process of design when we were kind of designing the whole thing. At one point in time, it was, I think the first time it was shown was down kind of near the small soccer parking lot on that southeast corner of the property. At one point in time, could be along that trail that connects across the soccer complex from Veterans, and then there was even some discussion of moving it over to the community center side even. But we just kind of, we talked with the veterans groups.
I like this spot. I like the design. I just worried about money. I mean, how could we not try to?
Right. Well, we thought the idea too was like if we had a concept drawing I think when people see something, they're maybe more inclined to donate instead of just, you know, I know our vets have worked really hard the last couple of years, just going out even just to the 4th of July saying, trying to raise money for a memorial that they didn't have any sort of thing to show anybody. So I think the idea was, you know, having a concept in mind people could look at, then we could really start looking at some large, potentially maybe some large donations instead of some small ones. So.
Richard?
Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, this is recreational way right through here, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That is
Swim
correct.
center,
That is a
parking
swim-
lot,
that's right.
swim center, so.
Parkland complex is there on the right side there of that image.
Thank you.
There's nothing for us to do Tuesday night on this. This
No,
is
just an update.
Just an update.
So has fundraising already begun to some degree? or-
Well, so the past several years, we've had some veterans that have been
Okay.
fundraising already. They'll bring us like a $500 check here and there just to go toward a project, and we didn't really have renderings until recently to show.
And we've discussed, you know, I mean, it's not just for Searcy vets, it could be a White County thing. We could engage the county and see if there's, you know, I think everybody is inclined to wanna have a really cool memorial out on veterans. And, now, and we've got, if we rename the ballpark Veterans Park, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense.
I like the location.
It's great, yeah. It's kind of a unused corner.
And it already has parking right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the appeal, was there was parking there for, you could hold events on a Memorial Day or a Veterans Day or something like that. And there's already ample parking there.
All right, thank you for that update. Item number 10, authorization to bid the Little Red River Park boat ramp project. This is something that you.
Yeah, I mentioned in our update, this is, the plans aren't ready to bid, but they should be any time now as soon as we get our approval from RDOT. So this is just to go ahead and get y'all's approval to solicit bids as soon as we get those, which hopefully happens before our next council meeting.
And this project is tied to that motorized RTP grant.
This is the grant project program. Yes, sir.
And this is primarily for kayaks, or is it for all boats? What is it?
It's not touching the boat ramp itself. It's creating a day use area. It's creating additional handicap accessible parking at the boat ramp. It's creating an area for right now kind of I'll say temporary restrooms until we can get utilities down to build actual restrooms, but having a place for I can't remember the term for those types of bathrooms. It's not like a construction one necessarily, but it's more of a drop down one, not a pit. Anyways, and then a day use to where you could like fish off of, that's ADA accessible from the bank that's adjacent to the ramp.
Okay.
But we do need authorization to go to bid for the project.
Yes, sir.
So we move it forward.
All right, move
Mayor.
that forward. Yes, sir.
One thing, Richard, in the past, I know Sammy with the street department, Mark was engineer, back, former engineer, retired now, can attest to, we've had a lot of problems in the past with silt and stuff getting into the old boat ramp there and having to go out and clean that out periodically with a Trico. So when you talk to the people that do the design work on it, you might mention that to them, because as the river fluctuates and that sediment, sand and silt, it just pockets up in there, and it gets to the point where you cannot back in and put any type of a boat or anything in the water. So you might mention that to them.
Yes, sir, absolutely. We've had those conversations. It's been a while since that's been fixed, I guess. So yeah, we need to re-drag that area just inside the water to make it, which I believe we've done over the years ourselves, but yeah.
These gentlemen in the back can tell you it's been an issue over the last several years.
Right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, you're almost done, Richard. You've been up there for several.
I don't know, I always forget my bottle. Water bottle.
Item number 11, set a public hearing for August 11th, 2026 at 5 p.m. to receive public comment on the application for a State Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism Outdoor Recreation Matching Grant.
That is the regular August city council meeting, I believe, too. Moving forward.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think you're off the hook now. Item number
Thank you, Richard.
12, in your packets, we have a proposed on-call services agreement with Whitlow Engineering. I see Adam Whitlow's here this evening. Thank you and we have Mark side by side, but with Mark's recent retirement, we are seeking, we have need for engineering services, and so we have a proposal to engage with Whitlow Engineering on an on-call basis. And that agreement is in your packets, as well as the list of services that would be provided. And then I believe it's at a $2,000 a month. Adam, you want to give us a few details on this?
$2,000 a month unless we wear you out.
Yeah, I did put some estimated hours in there for that fee, so kind of based on what time I felt like I could allocate currently. I appreciate y'all having me here. I appreciate your interest. When Matt reached out, let me know Mr. Lane's retirement, just to see if I've had any interest, and I said, "Oh, sure, it's my hometown area. I certainly wouldn't just turn it down." But I got the sense that, with the changes and now that you have a full-time planner and stuff, that, there was some, decisions to be made. What's the role gonna look like? Is it gonna look like the role that Mr. Lane had? Is it gonna look more like a public works type role? So, with my transition to Jacksonville the last 4 years, had exposure there. I thought it would probably be good for both entities before any kind of decisions or offers or anything was made. That this would one, on-call services would serve an immediate need as far as ability to meet your plan review needs from an engineering standpoint, and then two, kind of give me an opportunity to look at your system and give you an honest feedback about what I felt like it if this role would need to be continue as a full-time role, or if I thought it could be filled as a for an on-call type role, or maybe you get one of the larger firms, to just do a plan review. I just, this is kind of an interim basis just so everybody has time to digest and see what the new roles are gonna look like.
I appreciate your willingness to do that.
Sure.
Because you do need engineering to sign off on certain things, especially with planning and zoning. You're willing to do it. I'm very appreciative. I'm tickled that you do it this way till we kind of get on down the road and see what we're gonna do,
sure,
engineering wise, full-time or not.
Yeah.
So I'd say move it forward.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam.
Yep.
So what we'll need to do then is we'll need to appropriate some funds, or at least move some funds into an on-call services line for the funding of this.
And I'm happy to if there's any questions, that format of that agreement was one, and maybe many of you maybe didn't know this, of my working at Whitlow Engineering, you've seen, what my design and stuff here, but I served as the city of Cabot's consulting engineer for 11 years, and it was under this contract, and it was more, I functioned more like a staff person than say like a Haffer or Crafton Toll that comes in with the team. I mean, it was a very staff level type position. That's the way I feel like this is, instead of, while I'm here, the hours I'm here, you treat me like a staff, and I'll act like a staff member. But I feel like it'll be good for both parties.
Good deal. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate you. All right, so we're moving that forward. Item number 13, $5,000 funds request for final closeout of the Berry Hill Tennis and Pickleball Courts project. I know Bear's not here, but this is just to close out that project.
$28,940. Nancy Carmichael.
I don't,
Some situation.
yeah, no, the Berry Hill one has to do with the courts. I'm not super privy to what that one's about. Bear asked, he could not be here tonight, and asked if he could if we could move these to Tuesday for him to help discuss, but I do know that one is involved in the court resurfacing. It was a warranty thing, but I think there was still some final holdout of the original contract way back when, and then the courts deteriorated. Anyways, I'll let him explain that one. The Yancey and the Carmichael one is, he can explain that one in greater detail too, but there's some undercut that we ran into, especially over at Yancey, that was greater than what was estimated the need to be, which also required some additional drainage structures, culverts that weren't in the design specs initially because of this undercut, that the soil's terrible over there. And so there were some additional expenses to that project, and Barry can explain it in way better engineering terms than I can. But he asked if we could hold it over to Tuesday. He'd be here on Tuesday to explain those in further detail and ask questions, or answer questions.
Say we move it forward.
Okay, that'll pertain to items number 13 and 14. Eric can address those on Tuesday. Thank you. Item number 15, Finance Committee and Grounds and Equipment Committee recommendations for the new police department facility. Just an update there. As part of our due diligence efforts for a new police department, Councilmember Roger Cargill worked to negotiate a potential purchase price for the former WW Ford property on Race Avenue. Jason prepared a comparative cost analysis of the 3 sites under consideration, including WW Ford property on Race, the current sanitation site on BB Caps, and then also the Moore Avenue property where the East Precinct is currently located. After reviewing the estimated project costs, evaluating each site's advantages and challenges, and then confirming with Chief Hernandez that the police department's operational needs could be met, both the Finance Committee and the Grounds and Equipment Committee are recommending that the council move forward with the Moore Avenue location as the most cost-effective option. And if approved, then next steps would include continuing to work with Barry Hoffman on the architectural design, and then beginning the process of selecting a construction manager to oversee the project. So that's just a recap of the efforts over the past several weeks. Yes, sir.
Chief or Major, approximately how many square feet is in the existing building?
Around 15,000.
Mayor, difference of $2 million is a lot of money. But the way the city's growing, the fact that we're gonna have to increase the size of our police department in years, we might want to consider the larger square footage as compared to the lesser options. But obviously, retrofitting and adding on and things like that is a higher cost than additional construction. So I think we need to be very cautious and think about how the city's gonna increase in size over the next few years, and the police department likewise. And I know now that 15,000 as being over in your building on many occasions, you ought to kind of cramp as it is now.
That's correct.
My opinion.
Yes, that's correct.
That's my comment and 2 cents worth, sir.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll make sure that the facility is designed to accommodate not just for today, but for tomorrow as well.
What, can I ask him, Mark, you might be able to, you explained this to me down the line somewhere, but construction manager versus, drawing the plans, having plans drawn and sending the plan out to bid. What is the difference or advantages to each?
You can often get, in my opinion, you can often get a better price with a construction manager if they work with the architect and they test ideas back and forth and try to refine it into something that you can afford. And that typically is for a larger project, in my opinion.
When you say larger, this would qualify.
That would qualify, yes, sir.
A direct answer. Remember, you were on the committee when we evaluated construction managers for these. And you remember how everybody that presented showed that graph, how they worked the price over time? That was that construction manager
process. So that squares with what he just said. That was an example of, it's a response to your question.
You know, and again, just trying to get in my head the difference between, you know, having plans drawn and putting them out to bid like we do other things, but you know, where is the I think ultimately I'm going to what Mr. Schellenberg alluded to. This price point on this type of building is more advantageous to do construction managers and say the stoplight at
Absolutely, in my opinion, it is.
Okay, I'm just squaring up.
I want to make one comment too, and this may be, Richard, what you're about to say too. When the finance committee met, we also discussed leveraging the franchise fee bonds to help fund this project. And it was discussed not to go over the $12.5 million. I know there were several, maybe 9 different, I guess, examples in that chart that Paul Phillips presented. But the $12.5 million, I guess, liability, is that what you were gonna say, Richard, toward this? Okay, so I just wanted to add that note, that was discussed in the franchise, or the finance committee, is to, go with that as an option without maxing out our revenue. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I was just gonna talk about construction manager. I think having now been a part of both, working with the construction management team on the South Main projects versus a straight bid, there's a little bit of so many benefits. Cost is definitely one, I think, but it's also the really good thing about a construction manager is you have a little bit more flexibility on your subcontractors. We were able to tell CDI hard that like we want as much local participation in our subcontractors as possible, whereas whenever you're putting a bid together for a bid date, we don't know who all the subcontractors that are giving them pricing. So whenever we met with CDI, they gave us a contractor list of like, these are our local contractors, these are the ones we want to try to go in and get them pre-qualified to work on it. So where we've got 25% local participation in our construction team out there of local contractors, and we could only do that with this construction manager process. So I mean, there's a lot of advantages, and I do think Mark's right. I think the cost working with the architect early on allows, we saw the savings just from the first iteration of design drawings priced, and everybody fell out of their chair. CDI came in and said, hey, there's these things that we could use material-wise, or this construction method could save us here, to where we, like in one meeting, they shaved off like $4 million of an $80 million project in one meeting of just working through that construction process. So I think there's a lot of advantages that I've seen, that any opportunity that we have to go with the construction manager process, in my mind, it's been a way more beneficial process to the city than some of the straight bids, but scale of the project especially.
Mayor, as you know, I'm on the grounds committee and I voted for this, but that's really not where I wanted the police station to be. But I'm so appreciative to the police chief and his staff that are willing to say, let's do it here because we can do it for less money, but get a new facility, which they need badly, and I really appreciate that, chief.
Well, I appreciate the work that you guys have been doing behind the scenes that people haven't seen to push this along. I know I think I've said it to you guys, but you guys have been, as a whole, pushing this pretty hard, and I appreciate that. Our guys appreciate that, guys and girls.
I have 2 questions. First of all, on that National Guard Armory property, is the motor pool still part of that property, that motor pool area?
For all of our extra units, is that what you're referring to by motor pool?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Second question, are we going to use any of the buildings, or we're going to just raise them and start over?
So, right, there's the large, of course, where our current shop is. Let's walk up here. Some of the advantages, they actually include that. The buildings that are currently there, there's a 30 by 40 shop, I believe, that's out there. Would be a perfect storage area. There's the old armory, I guess is what that is, with like 4 bays
I think it's 4 bays. That would be utilized, and of course, our current shop would be utilized, what is currently being utilized
You
as.
keep the National Guard Armory intact?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
You're just we're gonna take the building down, what do we call it?
The East Precinct would come down,
East
Yeah.
Precinct, take that
and then
down.
there's 2 small structures behind
That was
it.
the headquarters building for the National Guard.
Okay, yes, it would come down. Yes.
Two-story building there.
Yes, a 2-story building would be built basically right where the East Precinct is now.
How many
Chief,
square
the
feet?
current maintenance building, the old armory building would stay there and continue to serve as maintenance, correct?
Nothing would change with the building for what we use it for. It would just, it'll put everything on one location. Technically, we're on 3 locations right now, and this would put us all on one location.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, so the request, I guess, is to move this forward, select the Moore Avenue location, give Barry the thumbs up to continue working on designs, and then start the process of construction manager.
We need to authorize,
Do we wanna,
we're saying the same thing, you go.
do we wanna move forward with, do we want to advertise, the authorization to advertise for construction man, RFQ, do you want us to put together an RFQ to do that? Or do you want to see the RFQ prior to doing that? I mean, either way, you can give me, one of y'all to serve on our selection committee, and my office will put together an RFQ to advertise. If y'all just give us the authority to advertise, we'll get it in the paper and put it together.
Do we need to do that right now, or do we need to let Barry work on design on the relocated property before we do the RFQ?
Well, I think, this process, some of our RFQs are a little bit shorter timelines. I think the process for this size of a project, we wanna take our time. So I think even if we said today, yes, let's advertise RFQ, it's a 2-month probably process. We probably wouldn't have a recommendation for a CM until September, if we said tonight. So I think that still gives Barry the opportunity to start working.
What do we need to put on the agenda for Tuesday night to get this moving?
I can put together an outline of the RFQ, of advertised date, when the submissions would be due and all of that. We can put that together for Tuesday night, and then and then we'll need a selection, one of y'all to serve on the committee, the selection committee. But
Roger needs to be on that committee.
Mayor, respectfully, let's keep this flowing and keep it on the front burner.
Okay, so I'm just gonna,
You need to pay for it too, you need to
Well, that's-
authorize.
that was my next thing, was we also need to authorize to engage crews, and we also need to do the Friday, or is,
They're
that
very
goes along,
limited,
yeah. To engage for to start the bond process.
Let's get it all on Tuesday night.
I'm really pleased we're making some progress.
Yeah.
Get a decent place for what I think is the best police force in the state. I'm glad you guys are happy with the location and be involved with it.
okay, I'm gonna regurgitate this, make sure I have it all down right. So the request is to move forward to Tuesday for a vote, select Moore Avenue as the location, thumbs up to Barry Hoffman to continue architectural design services at that location, authorize crews to initiate the bond process, and then authorize, for RFQs for construction manager. So those 4 items, is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, item number 16, time estimate discussion for council to receive renovation cost estimates for converting the Carmichael Community Center to a new senior citizen center.
We have a meeting set up, next week from today, with Deborah at the senior center and Polk, Stanley Wilcox architect, on beginning that process. We've been playing vacation, everybody taking vacation. Deborah was on vacation, then Reese was on vacation, and then I was on vacation, and then I think Reese went on vacation. Anyways, we're all back in town and we're meeting to discuss. The first step, if you remember right, when we left off last, was the architects have already put together a 3D model of the building, the existing building. So now they want to meet with Deborah and talk about scope and the renovation levels, and that should give us a decent idea on the kind of a price per square foot broken out on the different levels of what we think will be needed for the renovation. I think certain parts of the building, that renovation cost is gonna be low. I think like the office space, I think Deborah has, when looking at it, I think it's just a lot of cosmetic stuff, but then there's certain areas like the bathrooms, they're gonna have to be brought up to ADA standards. Those will be obviously more expensive square footage, so this is that meeting to start that process. That'll be a week from today, actually. So.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
As the, city council representative on the Senior Citizen Aging Board, I get asked for a progress report every month at each meeting, so I'll reiterate what I said about the police department. Let's keep this rolling and moving also.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're very interested in this project.
Good stuff. Well, excited to see what happens from that meeting next week. All right, thank you, Richard. Item number 17, Searcy Housing Authority Board of Commissioners recommendation for reappointment. We have David Goff being recommended to serve another 5-year term to expire March 30th, 2030.
It's my understanding Mr. Goff has made a very good member. I say move this forward.
Thank you. Item number 18, report on drainage repair needed near 2106 Clara Street. I'm gonna try to explain this, and I'll probably, Sammy, I may need you and Will and Richard or whoever else to chime in. My understanding is years ago, when this area was developed, there's a drainage easement, and the drainage pipe was constructed near the edge of this easement. And then the developer built a house also near that same edge of the easement, so this drainage pipe and the house are in very close proximity to each other. So this is years ago, didn't involve the city at that time. But in the past, I don't know however long, and Mark, you can probably speak to this too since you're here if you're willing. But there's some either erosion issues with the soil in that area, and Adam, you can speak to this as well, but it's failing to some degree, creating some type of erosion issues. And with the close proximity to the house, there's great concern that it can affect the foundation of the house. So that area, that drainage is catching stormwater from this, city roads going through there. So we received a request from a property owner for the city to consider aiding toward the repair of that drainage to stop this potential erosion. Did I state that correctly? Everyone in the room that has been.
Where is Clara Street?
Ballyons.
No, in the.
So Jesse's not here this evening, but he has been working and also communicating probably with Mark and Adam on trying to find possible solutions, because as y'all can imagine, if you do excavation work, in the area of this pipe so close to the house, it could create even more issues. And so there's an internal lining, and Adam, you want to describe this? It can go inside the pipe, which is less invasive.
Right, so the solutions Jesse's looked at this point, and Mark, please jump in, whatever you know, because I just know kind of surface level stuff, and have been helping Jesse work through some options on this. So I know he explored a pipe liner, so it's a felt liner that they run through the pipe and impregnate it with a resin, and it bonds to the pipe. So that's a very non-invasive, no excavation required. They just get one end of the pipe and the other. They run this through and it bonds, basically makes a new liner, plugs any holes in the pipe. So that's kind of your worst case scenario, so cost wise, and I think that cost wise was somewhere around a $98,000 price tag or something like that. But so that's your kind of baseline. That's what we have to go through. Jesse also explored getting a local contractor to excavate the pipe and just replace the pipe in its entirety. That was a little bit cheaper, but a lot more intrusive, of course, to a property owner that's already a little aggravated from what I get since. So actions he's taken to this point, he has had guys crawl through the pipe, find at least one of the areas of failure, and plug it up. I can't remember exactly what he used to plug it up, but they addressed that. And now to this point, it's worked. So he's not aware of any additional failures that has been caused by that. So at this point, he feels somewhat comfortable that solution has stopped and say it's erosion, it's a hole or a protrusion in the pipe that's sucking sediment in from the top. So it's causing a settlement issue. I think it's what the property owner complained about.
Do we know who installed the pump? Is it in a city right of way or is it on private property?
It's a drainage easement to no one.
Pardon?
It's one of these drainage easements to no one. It just says drainage easement. It doesn't say.
In the plat to the.
So it's in the play. I would call it a traditional, dedicated city easement. So, I mean, it is in a valid easement from what I've seen. It's just one of those cases where it was the construction, they got a little bit, shifted towards the edge, still in the easement. Property owner built a house close to that. Everybody's technically did everything right. It's just, pipes tend to degrade over the years. I will say the good news about this pipe is if it was a corrugated metal pipe, for example, I would be very concerned because when they fail, it's the entire pipe that fails. This is the HDPE black plastic pipe. I've rarely had issues with that type of pipe. If it was possibly damaged during construction or something like that, and it's taking this long to eat a hole or something.
How large a pipe is that?
42, I believe.
It is 40.
So it's a large diameter pipe. It carries a lot of water. And if this is all we've seen, as far as erosion to this point, I would say I would kind of give it a shoo, could have been a lot worse if it's failure. So Jesse is hopeful that the solution he's got at this point will continue to work. And I don't know if there's any remaining dress up to be done, but I know the property owner has sent an invoice to the city that they're claiming some damage.
Does the rest of the pipe seem to be intact?
Yes, as far as we can tell, the rest of the pipe seems to be intact. Mark, do you know exactly where the failure, was the failure at a bale?
It was at a bale, yes. And as far as I know, it's only one location, but.
Okay.
How long is this pipe?
100 feet.
And this lady lives in the house that was built close to the easement.
Yeah, and she's.
Why is she sending us an invoice?
Well, it's not an invoice. It really, what it is.
Estimate for damages
Yeah,
to replace.
Jesse has, go ahead.
Yeah, to replace a patio and some driveway cracks and, I mean, it's a kind of a shotgun approach, honestly. I feel like it's probably a little excessive what she's saying.
She's provided an estimate from a Groundworks that's $16,557.08, and it lists several things, as Adam just alluded to: a rear patio, cracking in the driveway. So we've looked into it. Some of those cracks in the driveway were there a while ago. I'm definitely not an expert on this, but
yeah, I mean,
those may not have been created by this erosion issue, but if it's closer to the patio or where the pipe is, it's.
Yeah, the only one thing that Jesse felt like, that might have contributed would be to the patio, to some cracks in the patio or something like that. I've just seen the pictures, not been out there myself. I'm off tomorrow from my other job, so I plan to come out.
A standard plat and a standard set of covenants that just dedicates that as an easement, utility easement, or just an easement?
Yeah, yes, sir, just a drainage easement. Just one of these that just
Dedicated
says.
to the city.
Yeah, it'll say utility easement and drainage easement, but it doesn't.
But it really doesn't say dedicated to the city, it just says that it is.
So
It's the Cloverdale problem, just on a 100-foot pipe, not on a mile ditch.
our liability from pipe to patio is whatever we decide it is, or?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons she submitted some estimates, is because my recommendation was don't touch anybody's foundation to their home. And that was one of the, I think Mark participated in. Kudos to Jesse and Mark for finding a non-invasive opportunity, because at one point during the exploration of this deal, the excavation would have touched and concerned her foundation, and that was the point at which I was like, whoa, if she needs to do that work, if it's touching her house, and then a proposal at that time could be y'all could share in some of the costs related to the pipe. But this one is exclusively related to the pipe itself that is carrying water off the city street somewhere else.
Through the process, I've engaged with Jesse and you know, he was looking for some resources. So we've reached out to Carl Garner, who's a geotechnical engineer that myself and Mark have worked with years. You know, he is the true expert when it comes to foundations and soils and dirts and stuff. So if it did need to go to, if it did get to, well, there's additional failure and we do gotta excavate this, you know, someone like that's who the city would need to engage to be the third party. Yes, we can do this and her foundation would be secure, or these are the measures you need to take in order to protect the foundation. Carl even suggested, you know, there's some foam injection type products that would either support the foundation while excavation takes place, or there's even some foam injection type products that would potentially seal the pipe off. But like I said, at this point, we're hoping that the failure in the pipe is addressed.
Has anyone made a determination whether her patio extends over the easement area?
Now that, I don't know, Mark, can you speak to that one? I haven't, without seeing it.
I don't think that it does. I don't recall seeing that.
It's very close proximity, Mr. Rainey. Like I said, I plan to actually take a look at the site tomorrow and see. But that was the only area that Jesse thought, well, maybe some of this soil that got sucked down the pipe, you know, could have contributed to some settlement there. I've looked at the cracks in the driveway. Those are standard cracks. But once again, she's not provided any kind of studies or any kind of a proof or anything like that. Typically, that type of claim for some of that types of monies would generally be supported by, you know, her hiring an engineer and say, yeah, this engineer concurs that these damages were caused by that. So
I'm just gonna hope that what Jesse's done is fixed it.
right. And like I said, before, you know, I told him before you'd offer these, you know, big ticket things, there's still some isolated solutions, you know, that we could try before we got into that. I mean, they've plugged this area. There's still not quite as intrusive of options to go for.
We've had some similar discussions, and I'm very concerned and leery of making any of those improvements if the city really didn't cause this situation. That's why I was asking if the patio extends over the easement area.
Correct. Yeah, and you know, from what I know of the law, and here I'm talking to some lawyers, you know, the city enjoys some level of tort immunity to just routine maintenance types of things. But, you know, that's not to say we shouldn't engage with the resident if there was truly something we should have been doing. But this is truly a case, in my opinion, is, you know, as far as we knew the infrastructure was working, then, you know, when this resident reached out was the first time that we, you know, were aware that that there was a problem with the infrastructure. You know, there was action taken, you know, within a timely manner to try to correct that. And I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's the standard of care that the city should offer, you know.
I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed that it's fixed.
Thank you, Adam.
Sure.
For the explanation. So just to be clear, so no current action at this time.
I'd just like to be kept abreast of this a little bit more. I think her letter was dated June the 10th. It was addressed to the city council.
Right, that was just following the June council meeting. So since that point, Jesse's been looking into solutions. So, all right, moving on. Item number 19, an update on foreclosure actions.
Motions for warning orders have been filed. We're awaiting the judge's order, at which time we'll publish notice. And so if he were to sign them today, I would think that we're talking about a 60 or 90 day run less. That's probably in foreclosure sales.
How many cases are we talking?
There was originally, at one point in time, a long time ago, thought there were 13 or 14, there were 6. I've been monitoring how many nuisance properties have been declared since then, so I imagine that as soon as we get these put to bed, there's another round of.
How many liens were actually filed today?
I don't, I can get that information to you.
Coast to coast, what happened?
Any, you mean other than what Mr. Shoemaker shared last month?
Yeah, it's sold, but we had a lien on it.
They paid it
We got ours paid.
before the transaction.
Didn't know that.
Well, one of our longest standing, problem childs, over on Pine Street, we have several, it's been on our books for a long time, it's for liens for grass cutting, abatement, whatever.
I don't know what problem, we're telling where that is.
It's, over off of Moore Street, sort of by Lion Stadium.
Okay.
I noticed it was in the state auction for non-payment of taxes. How will that affect our liens?
Oh, the grass cut lien in the state, I will get you an answer on that, but I wanna go look at the specific property. And I've got some relationship with state land commissioner, and I can find out. Some of those municipal liens are funny animals when it comes to the tax sale. Sometimes they are satisfied and sometimes they are not. So I wanna look at the specific property and get you an answer.
Actually, liens that would have to be paid before it can be purchased, aren't they?
No.
They're not?
Sometimes, just
They
like.
can get around that?
Well, in a foreclosure proceeding and a tax sale, be excluded, but my concern is that maybe I misunderstood you. I thought we had 30, 40 tax lien situations. How many do we have?
Well, we've probably got dozens of properties, like dozens and dozens that have had some sort of a lien file on at some point. And those are constantly in and out.
I understand if we get paid on any, but any we hadn't gotten paid in several months, we need to be foreclosing it, in my opinion.
Ken, how many do you have how many, you know which property I'm talking about?
Yes.
And do you know specifically about how much money we're owed on that particular property? I mean, it's probably too much to ask off.
709 North Pine.
Yeah.
We're probably right at $5,000-$6,000 in liens. Same way with 600 North Spruce. We're right at $5,000-$6,000 in liens on both those
You know,
properties.
the homeowner just died years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with these, that's why I'm having to do warning orders and why it's taking so long, because you're trying to find heirs and you're trying to find people and you're sending letters and you're waiting, and so, that is the problem with these, is nobody's alive. One of them's an LLC, all the owners of the LLC have passed away. Yeah, so I should have said that, that's a very important point, is that everybody's dead. And so how do you make sure you're doing things right, so when you deprive people of property rights, whomever they might be, you've gone through the process. So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was a very important point.
But back to my question, Kenneth, how many liens, how many tracts of property do we have liens on we can enforce?
We have about 6 properties that we have liens on that have not been paid in 5 years. We have some properties that we put 4 liens on a year, but the finance company, the mortgage holder, pays their taxes every year. They just don't sell the property and they don't maintain it. So we maintain it, but we get our money back at the end of the year.
When it's ever sold?
Huh?
When it's ever sold, or we?
No, they'll pay their taxes, and the liens are put towards their taxes. And when they pay their taxes, they pay the lien.
How many situations where we place a lien on it, do the landowner step up pretty quick and pay that, be done with
Not quickly. It usually waits till tax time or it's sold. Just like recently, I've had 2 liens that have been paid because the property sold, and they've got to get a clean title.
So the law that was passed 2 or 3 or 4 years ago about putting it into that tax payment period has helped, right?
Yes. It's just that we have the issue with the homeowners that have passed away that nobody has claim the property.
And those are also typically the situations where the state's involved, which, you know, and one of these that we've been dealing with lately, the IRS has been involved. And so that's probably why historically there hasn't been some sort of routine. Because the ones that get to this point where you would foreclose on them are the ones that are the biggest messes. And by the time you get to the end of it, was the juice worth the squeeze?
Four of the properties that Will's working on right now, 3 of them, the owners have passed away. And one is on South Oak, which we had a tree fell on the house, we had to clean it up. We have a $25,000 lien on it. And it's a vacant lot right now. Then we have Pine Street. Gentleman passed away, has no relatives claim to. Another one is on Joyce, 510 Joyce. The lady passed away, we have no ownership to it.
Well, I can assure you that what Will's saying is correct. When you got deceased people and you can't run heirs down and you gotta do warning orders and you gotta do notices, it is a pain. And it's tedious to get it done right, but the sooner we get it done, we can get it off our books.
Yeah, it's one of those deals that I would like to at least, after 2 years of non-paid on their tax, the issue that we've had in the beginning is that homestead credit covered majority of their taxes. They didn't have to pay taxes. But when I start putting liens on the property and notify the tax collector that house is vacant, then it automatically comes open for taxes. After 2 years of not paying the taxes, it goes to the state. Then the state has 2 years to do it. We need to get ours done within the 3.
That's my whole point. We need to be doing all that in the first or second year we do anything so we can get hopefully paid.
Yes. I think at the end of 2 years, I think we need to put it on our list. And at the end of 3, give it to Will. Within that year.
I would suggest after 2 because I don't want to get caught with the state selling it for taxes and we get into an argument whether they got to pay our lien. Let's foreclose and get it done.
That's just never. That was never when I first started here. That was never placed in action until after I started, and it's never been written policy of when we sent these to the attorney for foreclosure. And I think that's something that is probably going to need to be put in writing. That way we have something definite. That way change of leadership doesn't say, we have something in writing and formal, but that's standard, and changing leadership, that doesn't change.
All we need to do is amend our ordinance that allows us to file these liens to have that time frame in there of when we're gonna foreclose.
Yes.
Mr. Morris, did you have something?
I had just a question, Mr. Moore, Mr. Shoemaker one probably can answer, but going back to a discussion about the coast-to-coast property out on East Race. And just simply passing by on East Race recently, I've observed a lot of activity around the building, some traders and things like that. It looks like something is being done. Are they trying to clear it out for demolition, or are they trying to renovate it, or what?
They're clearing it out so they can go in and renovate it. They're gonna keep the building, completely tear off the whole roof and put a new roof on it and keep the frame and the outside of the property.
Thank you, sir.
It looked like some of the holes had been plugged, like where the garage doors were. It looks like some of those have been resolved.
The business owner
the past few days
next door with the parking lot, he bought it. He's rehabbed.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. All right, item number 20, appropriate funds from Fund 18, the quarter-cent fire tax for fire department equipment expense of $10,000 for unexpected hose replacements and for vehicle maintenance of $15,000 to cover the increased volume of repairs.
Say move it forward to 259.
Thank you. Item 21, set a public hearing for August 11th, 2026 at 5 p.m. to receive public comment for declaring 508 West Woodruff Avenue as a nuisance property. Thank you. Brings us to our resolutions. Item number 22, accepting a drainage easement in River Oaks. Sammy, do you have details on that? I know Jesse's not here.
Yeah, it's where we put that grate in the street on 506 River Oaks Boulevard. We didn't have a drainage easement there, and they're gonna give us one. It goes from 506 north toward the cabins on an old, and daylight's out, and the creek's there behind the cabin.
The surrounding landowners, lot owners are gonna give us an easement?
Well, they're that, I guess, they're state.
I was involved in that one we did that last summer.
That was what I was gonna ask Mark, clarification, that's the project that my seatmate and I kind of originated out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumps off into the creek.
Yeah, it dumps off into the creek.
We did that last year.
Right, it was done about this time last year.
We just need to accept an easement from them for maintenance.
I just wanted clarification, I was looking at the map and I thought that was the project that we had done last summer.
I've been watching in the rain. It seems like it's working pretty well.
It has worked very well.
We good to move that forward?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Item number 23, disposal of fully utilized assets in the police department, 6 vehicles. Thank you. Item number 24, disposal of fully utilized asset in the public works department, a bucket truck chassis. Thank you. Item number 25, liens will be certified to the White County tax collector against certain properties in the city of Searcy as a result of grass cutting expenses and abatement of other nuisances.
Move it forward.
Thank you. Under ordinances, item number 26, excuse me, authorization of Mimi's Kitchen to file for a private club permit with Alcoholic Beverage and Control Division. Thank you. Item number 27, sanitation code updates and amendments. So this is in your packet. So this is with regard to third parties providing roll-off dumpster services. So the rates are per month, 40 yard, that would be $100 per month, 30 yard, $75 per month, and 20 yard, $50 per month.
So because of this court hearing, we have to allow other entities to bring in those things, but now we're gonna adopt an ordinance that charges them so much a month to do that?
No. I almost said something, but you are amending your ordinance that creates exclusivity today and allowing for third-party roll-off service, and specifically defining what roll-off service is. That's not commercial trash or residential trash. That's this construction, these big roll-off boxes. So you're removing that exclusivity, and that is because of the court case, the decision of the Arkansas Supreme Court. You do not have to do that. The opinion of the municipal league is that legally, you would not have to remove that exclusivity. But if you do that, you do risk continued litigation, and do you want to be the community that tests that case? So far, no one has been willing to be that community, and they have removed that exclusivity. Then on the back end, we are amending our construction permit fees to add and include roll-off service. And so when you go do a construction project and you go to Richard's office to get a permit, your fee will be adjusted and it includes roll-off. You don't have to use it. You can still go back to the other amendment that allows the removed exclusivity, and you can hire junket.com to bring in a dumpster. If they bring in a dumpster, they have to either have a City of Searcy business license or equivalent, and they have to have a permit to conduct business in the City of Searcy. All that accurate?
Yes, sir. And enforcement will be, because I have never seen as many orange and yellow and red dumpsters around as I have in the last couple of weeks. I mean, how are we gonna enforce the permits from those people?
So we've had, there's been issues like that for back when Jeff was doing this too, you could attest. Our inspectors, as we drive down, we would have a list of dumpsters for the guys to go check. At that point in time, they had to all be city dumpsters. And so if you'd spot a dumpster, because we're also looking for dumpsters for people that don't have a remodel permit or what else. So if we see just the same as ever, if we see a third-party dumpster, an inspector can look up on our system to see if they got a permit to supply that dumpster, so.
We have a system that tells us where all of our dumpsters are and who's got them rented?
No, I just meant, we could track the permit. If our inspector sees a third-party one on site somewhere, and we don't know if we could go check our system to see if they pulled a permit to have that dumpster on site. If there was not a permit pulled, we would then call the company that supplied the dumpster and say, you don't have a permit. Just like if Ken drives around and sees a water heater on somebody's curb, we'll typically look up that address to see if they got a permit to replace their water heater. A lot of times they don't, so.
All right, Will, step me through this ordinance because I'm confused.
Which one?
This is the ordinance on dumpster roll-off container service permit. We're requiring third-party suppliers to get a permit to do business, number one, correct?
Yes.
And then for every roll-off container, they've got to pay so much a month depending on the size of the yard.
Let me see, which one are you? No, that one is the amendment to our permit. So if you renovated your house, you got a renovation permit, your permit's X dollars. Your dumpster's now included, and you'd get a 40-yard dumpster for that extra $100.
Well, it's a separate permit. If you want to use that service, you would say a third-party service is going to be my dumpster, and it would just be an extra permit. Just like you get a building permit, you also have to get an electrical permit, you also have to get a plumbing permit. So like the plumber has to come and get his plumbing permit from our office. So this would be the same. If you're doing a renovation project, you get your renovation permit, you get your electrical permit, you get your plumbing permit, and if you're gonna have a third party come and dump your garbage, dump your waste, you gotta get a roll-off permit.
And the citizen has to pay that.
Well, the company, yes, it would be probably a pass, the company would pass through the service for that fee, just like the plumber comes and pays the permit, but it's part of the charge.
It says any person, firm, or entity other than the Searcy Sanitation Department that provides roll-off container service within the city limits of Searcy as a service shall obtain a permit from the city prior to providing such service and shall pay a permit fee per box per location as outlined in the table. So the providers pay.
Yes.
Right.
They usually collect it.
And then they turn around and charge the.
That's right, they charge the person that's, that's right. It's set up just like I said, it's set up just like any of the trades. Like a plumber goes, the plumbing company comes and pulls their permit and they pay it. But in the fee that they charge the homeowner to do the plumbing service is included, that fee is included. So it just, the same thing would apply. They're providing this service that we require a permit for them to provide or to do.
So in the next paragraph, the applicant shall furnish the city proof that the applicant holds a Searcy business license or equivalent. Not sure what that is.
If you got a business license from another city, but you do business in Searcy, like if you're a Cabot business, but you have a customer in Searcy,
okay,
your Cabot business license is
okay.
That's the same thing for all the other permits, electrical permits, those type. They have to have their business has to be a license. We don't require them to have a Searcy license if they're a resident of Cabot and they have a Cabot business license.
Okay, so
That's a state law. They have to have we have to accept either our business license or somebody else's city business license.
So if a citizen, if I were, for example, decide I need a 20-yard bin for lawn trash or whatever, something doesn't require a permit, I'd still have to pay this unless I got it from.
That's right.
Okay.
But I would hope that you'd call Todd and you would get charged whatever rate, yeah.
But I don't want to
That's
accuse somebody else of that.
It's just like any of the other permits that we require. We require fence permits, you know, you might not be doing a remodel, but you wanna put up a fence, you gotta come to our office and get a fence permit. So it's just the same as, we treat it just the same and have basically the same requirements as any of the other permits that we require folks to get.
This was a topic at the recent Municipal League conference, and this was one of the recommendations from the Municipal League. Not necessarily the rate amounts, but as far as permit fees.
Are these rates the same as we charge, or?
I'd have to defer to Todd on that one, I don't know.
No, the rate for the, roll-offs are more than $100. A 40-yard is $5.50, a 30-yard is a $4 something, and a 20-yard is $300 and something.
Okay.
So we're really competitive on those prices, and the permit would be.
So it's probably gonna charge the out-of-town provider something similar to what you're charging to actually service it and empty it, that kind of stuff. We're discouraging them by doing this. Is that a fair statement? Okay. Which I shouldn't have said, right? Fire me later.
Okay, good discussion. Any other questions on or comments on this agenda item? If not, are we good to move this forward?
Is that the only thing in this item? It says sanitation code updates and amendments. Is that the only thing that we're changing?
There should be
two.
There should be two ordinances. One that removes exclusivity and defines roll-off, and then one that sets the permit. I couldn't find the second one.
So one ordinance changes the one chapter that deals with sanitation, and then the second ordinance changes the chapter that deals specifically with permit.
Oh, shoot, I don't see that.
Yeah, I think there's only one printed in the packet. I think that was just a mistake, a clerical, but we can certainly email both ordinances to y'all, and of course have it in the packets for Tuesdays.
So I take it that in view of the court's decision, this is suggestions by the Arkansas Municipal League for cities to take for right now?
For right now, and then it's, this subject matter's going forward with legislation, yeah. Okay, thank you. And then the last item is the budget adjustment ordinance.
Mayor, I reviewed it, and it looks adequate.
All right, that concludes our agenda for the evening. Thank everybody for hanging in there with us. And if there's no other comments from the council, we are adjourned.
Yeah, Dan and I, we worked together for like 40 years. Scott,
No, you're all right.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm